Hallo Welt und willkommen beim R&R macht Sachen Podcast.
Welcome back, dear listener. You are in store for quite the up and down episode. So if you want to hear about drama and life, this is the one to listen to. If you just want to listen about computers, skip a little bit because we'll talk computers and some other retro at the end. Ryan, how are you doing? Just throwing a disclaimer in there.
I love the disclaimer. It's going to be a roller coaster event today with everybody. I am wonderful here in good old Virginia. So welcome, everybody, and thank you for coming along.
As we go down this journey, and this is the first time back since we recorded. I was leaving for Germany when I was leaving for Germany.
Exactly.
First time back now since Germany. And so I think this is kind of a rich episode of a little update.
Yeah, I heard a rumor that a lot of stuff happened on your trip to Germany.
Oh,
Tell me a little bit. I know you left. I know you got on a plane, and I know you landed there. All easy peasy.
And
So
Ryan is holding the spoiler for me for a little bit later because he definitely knew what I got into at one point. But we started off. I sent y'all some photos here and there. Like we went and landed in Frankfurt, and then we decided to go through the Black Forest, which means you head south and west. And I found out I definitely like Germany in the little towns or the little cities. When we got to a few of the entrance cities to the Black Forest that they consider tourist destinations for Germans. So German tourist destinations, they'll often say like, bad something, and bad kind of means spa. So if you see something that's like bad blank town name, it's not a bad place. It's just been recognized as being a spa town. So as we got to some of these big towns before there,
a spa town? What's a spa town?
It's this thing that they designate the town that has maybe waters that are healing, or they have pools that are warm, or they're just a resort spa town.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know too much. I'm probably wrong. Like and comment and tell me below and send us an email if I got this wrong. But so we hit a couple of those, and they're really busy, man. And I don't like really busy German towns. I like really not busy German towns. So as we learned that, we changed our trip a little bit. We had another couple big cities on the mark, and we decided to move that mark and go to smaller places, which afforded us some neat things to see. In the Black Forest, we saw Triberg Falls, which is a really big place to go. And we did a lot of hiking. We did a lot of walking and a lot of drinking. So, yeah, you got that pyramid video from one of the towns on that side of the...
You did. You sent me a picture of the pyramid. And when I asked what was the pyramid, I didn't hear anything back.
Oh, I thought I replied. It's where a guy is buried. He's buried under the pyramid for some reason. And it's in the market plots of Karlsruhe. So I'm sure the guy who's under there had something to do with the creation of the town, but it's just one of those oddities. So when you told me about Atlas Obscura, that was in it.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, you saw a pyramid. I did a trip and saw where the Big Mac was created, the Big Mac was created, and saw 14-foot Big Mac. I mean, that's the American equivalent, I guess, right? So that's great.
And
all right.
Yeah, so we did that. A lot of hiking, a lot of stuff, and a lot of food and a lot of drink. And this comes to play a little later because we left that. We did stop by the Zeppelin Museum, which did pick up this nice little Hindenburg model to build, little Revel kit.
Hopefully not covered in jet fuel.
No, but I could do that thing where you take cotton balls and you kind of color them, and I could make it look like it's on fire.
I mean, that did happen.
Yeah, that did. And by the way, the Zeppelin Museum had a recreation of the Hindenburg entrance walkway, a seating area, a couple of different staterooms, and it was 1-to-1. So it was pretty amazing. Like the first room you go in, you visit, and then you go up the gangway into the Hindenburg.
What? All right. How big is the area that you get to move around in?
It's pretty darn tight because one, it was really darn tight. It was really darn tight on the Hindenburg anyways. It was pretty darn tight on the Hindenburg. So the recreation, all the hallways are just the way they were, nice and tiny. They had probably 4 or 5 rooms that you could view. So you walked in the hallway. They had that little rope up to where you didn't go into the seating area. The little rope up so you didn't go into the passenger cabin. But it was, I'm telling you, the museum itself, 4 floors, a real good city block size. So when they rebuilt that, they said they went back to the original plans and they built it in this space so you could experience the luxury of the Hindenburg.
Okay. That'd be kind of interesting. I know that was a big airship thing and wondered how it would have been like crossing the Atlantic in that thing.
Yeah. Could you imagine, dude, how cool that was?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that just had to be an incredible experience. And as I looked at some of the rooms, I need to find the link for this, but as I look at some of the rooms that were from there, it was just amazing. The quality, you know what I mean? It's kind of that old world airplane look where everybody has big sofa seats and they're all smoking, you know what I mean, while they're flying. So one of those deals.
Well, the old airplanes had a lot of that too. There was like a lounge, and I know I thought I saw photos of an early like 747, which is obviously years later, but they had like a lounge and like a piano in it and stuff like that.
Yes.
So it's a different feel than, gee, we have this much space. How many humans can we put in there?
I know. It is amazing how we've changed travel, isn't it?
Yes.
It is literally how tight can we make them? And by the way, I did Premium Plus on this trip and it was really good. It worked out really well. I think that's the way for me to travel. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Along those lines. So we get done with the Zeppelin Museum. We stop into Augsburg, and I'll talk about Augsburg and another museum I stopped in that are pretty retro later. But holy smokes, everyone. On my way into Munich, like literally I'm at the city ring getting into Munich, and my heart goes, I mean, it's racing, Ryan. Like I just finished a sprint. It's like if I did sprinting right now and I got done, I would feel like that. It was just going to jump out of I felt like I was going to jump out of my chest. And so
that is a problem because that's not the desired effect.
No. Those beats per minute were not the beats per minute you wanted.
No.
So I tell the girlfriend and now fiance, because we did that in Germany too. I told the girlfriend, I'm pulling over. I don't feel good. Something's wrong.
Congratulations also.
Thank you. And she goes, what's wrong? And I go, my pulse is my heart's racing. And she felt my pulse and was like, wow, we need to go to the hospital. So an American in Germany, and I need to go to the hospital. Well, of course I do kind of a man thing. I'm like, well, we got to park. So we get parked. And by that happens, because I calmed down and I said, let me park. And I went and found a parking spot near our hotel, got out and felt better. Felt, the heart rate beat went away. So I said, well, let's go to the Marienplatz because I wanted to propose there. So I was really focused on getting to the Marienplatz to propose to her while the glockenspiel went off. And we get over to the subway and it comes back. And I was like, you're right. We need to go to the hospital now. And so 4 trips later, we find the German hospital. My first stop was to something that was listed as urgent care, but was Red Cross, just a building for Red Cross, just there, just a business building. That's all. Just had urgent care in the name. And then I went to a doctor's office that was really close. Psychiatrist. Yeah. So
you might need that anyway, but that's a different reason.
Yeah, you are correct. And I think you could tell I needed something. So then we found a third hospital and we got there and got checked in. And it was this classic, I'm checking in. And of course I say in German that I don't speak German. And do you speak English? And the lady goes, well, little. And kind of then realizes I'm there because I have this heart thing. And then all of a sudden she's talking perfect English. I started kind of going over what happened. She's like, well, let me get the doctor. Please have a seat over there. She just was right on the money. And the doctor came out and it turned out I went to a pulmonary hospital, Ryan.
Dumb luck.
And so, but luckily this guy goes, this is the cardiac or the cardiac. How do you say it?
That cardiology?
Cardiology hospital. And so he told us exactly where to go. We called another taxi. Meanwhile, I walked to the first two places. The second two, I said, I need to take a cab. I'm starting to get worn out. And we get to the fourth place, and it was the right one.
Okay.
But this time in admittance, they did not necessarily, the lady I spoke to begin with did really not know English. But then this young man pops up in the background and goes, oh, hello, can I help you? It turns out he gets me all admitted. I find out he's a huge NFL fan. So he's watching the Kansas City Chiefs and other NFL teams learning English.
Oh, interesting.
How crazy was that? And
yeah,
he was pleased to punch to talk to me. I wasn't pleased as punch, but I did send an email later noting who he was and how he was very helpful to the to the hospital when I got back.
Yeah.
So he gets me up to the ER, and the ER lady comes over and immediately like puts something on my chest, a stethoscope. That's what they call those things.
Yeah, a little hearing, yeah.
And she goes, can you hear that? And I go, no. She goes, can you feel that? And I go, no, because I said, but I'm feeling really lousy. I don't feel good right now at all. And I guess my heart was still doing some weird shit. They checked me for thrombosis. They checked me for some other things. And in the meantime, their beds are up. And she's like, do you mind if I check you in the hallway? And I'm like, lady, I'll get naked in the hallway if it helps right now. I told her, I said, right now, I just need some help, and I have no modesty. You tell me what to do, because I was ready to do whatever. And she takes her thing, goes away, comes back, and says, we're going to get you hooked up to the EKG machine. I think you're having arterial fibrillation, but we need to find out. And sure enough, I get a room, I get checked in, they did the EKG. Folks, I was having an AFib, which I have never had before.
Okay.
Ryan, have you ever gone through an AFib?
No, weirdly enough, my Apple Watch told me my heart rate was high over the weekend when I wasn't doing anything. But I believe it was a side effect of a vaccine I did.
Oh, that makes sense.
I didn't feel good yesterday. I was recording the day before we were recording this. I didn't feel well.
Yeah, and it takes a while for those to kick in sometimes, so that makes a lot of sense. Well, I'm glad you got an Apple Watch, and dear listener, you'll hear about the new tech at the end of the episode. It'll come in important. Remember this moment. So they get me checked in. They do the EKG. Definitely have an AFib. My blood pressure was off the charts, man. It was way up there. It was way high. I could go through my emails, but my heart rate was like 178 to 220, or no, 178 to 188, just kind of fluctuating, kind of coming down to 168. Oh, back up, and then way high. They got me on an IV. They got me on everything. They were giving me magnesium. I was taking pills. And I found out, Ryan, I have enough German to get through talking to orderlies and nurses that don't know English.
Okay. That's good. I'm impressed.
Sarah had to leave, right, to go get checked into the hotel. She had to leave to go take care of the car that we dumped. She had to leave to go take care of things. And so I was on my own. And dear listener, Sarah's a very fluent German speaker. So in certain situations, I can just look. That's our key. I look at her with this look. See the look? When I do that look, that means just talk. That means I'm done trying to talk. And we came up with that scheme last year when we visited.
That's funny. Dear listener, for those that can't see that look, that is the deer in the headlights look. So anyone that's from like the East Coast, like Pennsylvania, and has seen deer, that is the look that a deer is looking at you when you're careening down the road at around 60 miles an hour with the headlights on at night. That is the look that deer is giving you, like, what's this? I don't understand. I'm going to stand here so you schmuck me.
That is what I did. And I look straight in her eyes and I do that. And she takes over talking. And so in the hospital, she was just taking the lead. And so, but all the doctors, very fluent, man. Every doctor was incredibly English speaking. But of course, folks that generally work in a German hospital that don't usually work with tourists, I'm sure learn some English, but they don't use it every day. It's not like when
Right.
I'm at the shop or at the Doner Kebab or I'm getting dinner somewhere. They kind of get used, they have enough. But yeah, I got through that. I'll talk a little bit about that first night later.
Okay.
But I got through the first night. Blood pressure finally settled. And then my heart rate was just, 168, 178. Went to bed, woke up the next morning, green lights. And I say next morning, 8 o'clock, 9. I mean, you know how it is to sleep in hospitals, Ryan. It is.
This morning.
It's morning. And so they're checking everything out. Everything looks good. They wait on my blood test. They do some more EKG testing.
Okay.
Sometime in the early afternoon, they were like, you're done. And they came and did a few things. And the doctor came back with my medical records. And this is the difference between America and Germany, man. On the way in, they couldn't figure out how to charge me. So the young man at the front desk just said, is it okay if we email you a bill later? And I said, sure. And then when I go to leave, I asked the doctor, I go, so what's the procedure for leaving? And she goes, well, Spen, or the guy's name, the attendant, is going to come back by and take your IV out. Is it a PICC line when they put it? Is that an IV line when they put it in your hand?
No,
what is
PICC line is a special line that goes up.
Okay, no, this was just an IV.
It's just an IV.
Okay. So I've never had an IV before. So they took my, yeah. Well, when I got my colonoscopy, bro. Remember when that was the only other time. I have never had an IV besides those 2 times in my life. I've been very lucky, man.
I'm impressed.
I know.
Odds are you will never have as many IVs as I have had so far in my life.
Oh yeah, dude. You've probably had a PICC line in the past, but
I have had a PICC line.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, I mean, they took the IV out, right? And she goes, when he's done, leave. And she's like, do you have a ride? And I was like, I'll call a taxi. And she's like, okay. So Spen comes in, pulls out my IV, and then I just get dressed and walk away. That's it.
Wow.
Didn't sign anything on the way out. Didn't stop by the desk to pay. Just left. And so I walk out front. I think I sent you guys a picture of me out front of the hospital saying, I'm out. They let me out. I met up with Sarah, and we did not do Oktoberfest. We skipped it.
Probably a good plan.
I was feeling great, but you know what? You're right. It is so packed. There's so many people. Our hotel was like America. There were so many Americans in the lobby getting drunk and just talking shit. So, it was, we skipped and just did the Deutsche Museum. And then everyone on Sunday, I did get Sarah to go to the Marienplatz. We both have Ray-Ban Meta glasses. So I said, indulge me. I want our glasses to record the Glockenspiel while it runs. And I want to edit that video later. Complete lie. And she said, okay. And then right before, she's like, oh, do you want to sit down at this cafe and just watch it from here? And I'm like, no, you got to be standing. She doesn't know why she has to be standing. I'm like, just work with me. Stand right here. I had like a perfect spot for her, right?
Okay, the wheels are about to fall off here.
And then literally 10 seconds before the Glockenspiel, she puts her hair up in a bun. And you know, if this is a picture of her being proposed to, she does not want her hair in a bun. She wants her hair down the way she likes it. So again, I go, just indulge me. I know I've had a lot of these, but will you just put your hair down and make it look like you like? Because I want to take an ussie afterwards, because that's what I call them, ussies. I want to take an ussie afterwards, and I want your hair to be just right. And she goes, okay. And so sure enough, the Glockenspiel hits. I turn on the glasses, and then I propose. She accepts, and I sent the guys. I sent you all a picture where I took a frame from each of our videos, where you see her looking at me and me looking up at her proposing. Aww. And we made a really nice little thing. So we have that. I need to edit that video and send it to Larry. I know he wants to see that.
Oh yeah.
So that really does conclude my Germany trip. We got back home. Everything's fine. I'm going to the doctor. I'm going to get EKGs done. I'm going to go to the cardiologist. Ryan was texting me late into the evening. And obviously Sarah needed to get to bed. She was beat, dude. My mom and Ryan texted me late into the night. I mean, it was probably midnight or 1 a.m. One of the new pieces of tech Ryan told me about was, dude, you need an Apple Watch. And he sent me this article about heartbeats, irregular rhythms, all this stuff it can do. And I think, Ryan, I'm going to quote you. You said, I don't look at my Apple Watch as a watch or a computer. To me, it's a healthcare device.
Oh, I agree. That's what it is.
Yeah, that was your statement. I went, that would make, and so Tuesday when I got home, I bought one. So I now have, it's been training, and I think next Wednesday I can tell it to do the AFB stuff because it needed 7 days of information before I start asking it to monitor my heart rate.
Okay, yeah. Like mine said I had the vaccine. It was a shingles vaccine on Friday. Kicked my butt. Saturday, I was kind of just like laying in bed. I was going to lay down for a minute, and it went off and said, "Oh, your heart rate has been over 120 the last 10 minutes, and I don't think you're doing anything."
I missed it was the shingles shot you got.
Yeah.
It's bad.
It was not enjoy. Yesterday was a bad day. Yeah. It was just like, oh God, I haven't been so sick.
I don't mean to make you nervous, dude. Prep for number 2. Number 2, whatever you did, like making sure you have this over the weekend, not leading up to your Mondays that you have that come up.
Yep.
So when you take number 2, you better make sure Sarah's she did her 1 here. Okay. And she's going to do her 2 while she's with me for a weekend too, just because number 2 is rough, man. It was really rough for me. Number 1 was rough. Number 2 was really rough. So I pray you don't, but odds are you are.
Yeah, probably. And that's kind of what I'm expecting. I'm going to do it like on a Friday off, do it like a Friday morning. And then I'll be like Friday. Friday didn't bother me so much. I was like, oh, my arm's sore. Saturday, I woke up like, what happened?
I was going to say, dude, you could go Thursday and get it done at night.
Okay.
Yeah. You see what I mean?
You
totally could. So enough of that. Ryan saves Rich's life again by suggesting an Apple Watch and chatting with him all night. So I really appreciate that, dude, because, man, I'll be honest to you and the listeners, it was freaking scary. It was scary.
I don't doubt it.
When your heart rate isn't coming down and your blood pressure is through the roof, it's freaking, even though you're in a hospital with medical professionals, I can lose weight. I can lose a kidney, right? I got another one.
You got 2.
Yeah, I can't lose a heart, dude. There's only one.
Yeah, it doesn't work well.
No.
It's not functional.
But Ryan, were you doing anything while you were chatting with me till 1 a.m, retro-wise? Are we able to segue some retro into this?
We can definitely get some retro into this. I was thinking about stuff. I was working at that point. I'm going to go a little off script. And I was working a little bit on trying to find a bug I found with Amiberry, which is an Amiga emulator that I run on my Mac. And found a memory overrun or buffer overrun and have fed that back in. So that was like my weekend at that point. But I learned a lot, LLDB and the debugging and trying to figure out what the heck was going on. I got a little lucky, but that's okay. It works, and I'm happy again. I had a compile error, and we would die. It would segfault as soon as it started. I am not super, I don't know. There's been an educational with all of this stuff. But as from a hardware perspective, I have started working on my Amiga 1000. I completed the recap of the main board and the daughter board recently. It came up, I plugged it in, and the machine booted, so super happy about that. I need to order some caps for the power supply, so I want to recap the power supply as well. I mean, this box is probably it could be 39 years old. They came out in 85. I don't know when they quit making them. I don't know if it has a date code on it or not. But yeah, so I'm working on that, trying to get that all come back together. I got some Pi Storms created from JCL PCB.
Ooh. Oh, I remember we talked about the purchase last time, and they need to sponsor us.
Yes, that'd be great. So I got those. Those are here, and I finally found the right pin headers and soldered all those on. So I don't know what, 120 pin solders later. So I have the Pi Storm ready but I wanted to finish the recap and get everything cleaned up and back in the case. And then I'm going to pull the CPU, put the PyStorm in, and see if I can make that work in A1000.
I want to go back.
A several-week project.
I want to go back a bit real quick. Everyone, Ryan, when he solders, has a solder removal system at his desk. Don't you have that little charcoal filter box?
Yes, I do. I have a little. I got it off of Amazon. I don't know. It says it's Kotto, Kotto. So it has a little fan. I pop the window open on the other side. It has this little charcoal filter thing on the front of it. So it's sucking the stuff out through the filter and then blowing it out the window, hopefully blowing it out the window. It helped a lot because it smells less bad to my wife than before I had it. I won't say it cured everything. She's still like, oh, it smells bad in here. Don't kill yourself. I'm like, okay, I think I'm getting better. Because I can see the stuff, the smoke coming off the solder and being blown across the board and into the fan vent.
Yeah, I normally try and get a nice whiff whenever I see those smoke tendrils. I just go try and get
You're going to be back in the hospital again for some other reason.
Yeah, I only got one liver. I hope solder smoke doesn't affect livers. But no, that's a really good idea. Now, I have a bigger shop that I work in.
Yes.
So I usually just have a little fan going and it just dissipates. Maybe I should use a filter. Maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. But yeah, I don't.
This was pretty cheap. I don't remember it being expensive. I feel like it was like under $40.
It might be a good investment.
So it was whatever. I think it smells significantly less soldery when I'm done.
Yeah.
Than what it used to. So, and I at least see the smoke blowing away from me. So I'm like, I'm not leaning over the top, inhaling this lead solder smoke.
That's exactly what it does. It just comes. I mean, there's no other way to do it. You have 120 of them to solder. You just got to get in close. So I'm really glad you used a fan indoors. That's smart.
Yeah, I think that's the right play. So I'm pretty happy with it. I got the board and cleaned up and been hitting in the board with like isopropyl alcohol and a Q-tip. So we're getting there. So progress. So what you had to have found some retro stuff while you're in Germany.
I did. And you know what,
Ryan? What did you find?
Yeah, obviously, the Black Forest is not going to be a mecca for anything retro related. It's a mecca for, the Black Forest, right?
Isn't that where like ham comes from, like the Black Forest ham?
I guess so. I don't know. Maybe they just stole the name. There's only one Black Forest, I think, in Germany. But anyways, so I leave, and the Zeppelin Museum, I start getting really closer to society, right, in bigger towns. And so when we got close to Augsburg, I'll tell about Augsburg. When we got close to Augsburg, this entire time I'd been searching. No, actually, stop, rich, cut, bing, back, boom. So I've been searching this entire time, Atlas Obscura. And then, as you mentioned, kind of like retro gaming shops or this kind of a shop. I just kind of was looking for flea markets and things like that, or secondhand stores, just to see maybe someone be in there. Nothing, dude. The only thing I found that was really awesome in the Black Forest is we found the German Phono Museum. And it really covered like from the beginning of phonographs up until very current, let's say 20, 30 years ago. So much equipment. I'm actually going to email Techmoan about this because there were so many things that I saw on a shelf that I've seen Techmoan demo online. So it was really neat. And I don't know, do you ever watch Techmoan?
I don't really so much. I know from talking to you before, they're more doing like AV stuff.
Yeah, he's a older guy from UK, and it is all. He's our age, older. It's all about going through old technology, 8-track, tape decks, phonographs, early phonographs. I mean, so many in puzzler little things that he'll find that are just amazing oddities. And we saw quite a few of the oddities I'd seen him demo at that museum. Great museum. I added the link in there. It's in a small little town, so it's really off the beaten path. And then when we got to Augsburg, believe it or not, I didn't see anything, Ryan, like that. It's really amazing how the retro scene I know is there, but it doesn't seem to be as I don't know if they're thrift shops. I'm just maybe not searching the right things. But I did go do what we always like to do. We went to a record store.
Okay.
That's one of our fun things to do. I'm always looking for a David Hasselhoff that was actually printed in Germany. Haven't found one yet, but I'm always looking. And we stopped in Augsburg at the Vinyl Cafe. And I'm telling you, if there's any Americans listening here that will ever go to Germany and you're in Augsburg and you like records, you've got to go to the Vinyl Cafe. The owner drives a Harley Davidson.
Okay.
The owner has been to Texas after he got out of school. The owner is about my age, so he likes America. He spoke really good English. We just had a great time. It was like us, dude. His back room he took me to is just full of old head-end units and old record players and old tape players that he works on, keeps alive. I mean, he must have had 50 of them back there.
Don't you have like a German record player?
I do. I have a Rosetta Commander that was out of West Germany that Sarah had imported over here as a gift. So yeah, I have, and we showed him a picture of that. We were like, look at what we have. And he's like, look what I have. And we just had such a great visit. It was really nice. So that was my only retro, man. It was all records, all record players, all phono. That was about and Zeppelin. I mean, Zeppelin's pretty retro.
Okay. Shame there wasn't like some boot sale somewhere going on at the same time.
Lots of farmers markets, lots of places where they had markets going, but I'm hoping next time we go to Berlin and we're going to do the surrounding areas, I think I might run into different technology out of Berlin than I am out of Munich and the Bavarian area. I just think I am.
Okay. I don't know. Bavarian, did you eat a pretzel while you were there?
You know what's funny? My doctor said to me, if one of the things, dear listener, is if my heart wasn't in place by the next morning, they were going to shock me. They're going to shock my heart. Shock the monkey. They were going to shock my heart, which meant they were going to do an ultrasound through my esophagus first to do a ultrasound to make sure there wasn't a blood clot in my heart that they shoot out into my blood veins, right? So you got to be careful. And but luckily everything settled, so I didn't have to do that. It's getting to be about midnight. Doctor's wrapping up. And we talked about the procedure. And I said, normally in America, anytime you do esophagus stuff, you have to not eat for the risk of throwing up. I don't know a better word, dude. Yeah. And so should I stop eating at midnight? And because I said, my fiance brought me this pretzel. I would like to eat some of this pretzel before I go to bed. And she goes, yes, why don't you eat half the pretzel by midnight, save the other half for in the morning in case we don't need to do something. I don't want you too full, but if you were to not eat from midnight on, we'll be in great shape. And then she goes, and Bavarian pretzels sure are the best. Up north, it seems they've lost a little.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, bro. There's some pretzel gate shit going on here.
Nice.
There is. And even though they also told me my AFib was most likely started via alcohol. Because again, I've been drinking every night, bro. I mean, we would go to the restaurant. And by the way, our hotels are normally right beside where we want to eat and drink. So we walk, we don't drive.
Right.
So, I get my drink on and then I go pass out and then I wake up and do it again. Drink on, pass out, wake up, do it again. You can only do that so many times when you're over 50. And that's what ate it. And so even though while I'm checking out, Ryan, she goes, you can still go to Oktoberfest, just have one beer, not 5. So not only are Bavarian pretzels good, I was given doctor's orders I could have one beer.
And I imagine you followed that.
Yes, and those are the really big beers. But I didn't have any that night because I was still kind of nervous. But then at dinner the next night, I did have a beer with dinner, just a beer, not a big Oktoberfest. She meant a big Oktoberfest beer, bro. Those are like huge. But anyways, man,
they're like Foster sized.
Yeah, bigger than that. They're like just these huge tankards, dude. I don't even know how much is in there. It's just $15 a pop. But I had just a regular beer, so I felt very good. And I've had a few regular beers since then, but I have not been indulging over a beer or two. And that's it.
That's probably the right play.
Yeah. So that's kind of wrapped up my story, man. That's everything I've done. It's been the rich episode.
It's good though. I mean, you had a great time.
Mm-hmm.
You got some good outcomes from it. You didn't die. That's important. Super important. You got engaged.
That's right. How about that?
That's great. She didn't say no. We were worried about that. If she said no, what was the flight back gonna be like?
Well, when I show you back the video, there's a spot where she goes, "You're not doing this. Like, are you doing this?" Like, it was like this moment where she's trying to focus on what's happening, and I was like, "Oh my God, does she not want me to do this?" So, but I just kept at it, bro. You raise the flag, you salute.
Yeah, we're kind of like, I wonder what happens if she says no. That's got to be the most awkward flight back.
We would like 2 seats not beside each other, please.
Yes, we'll trade anywhere else. This isn't going to work. But I'm glad it all worked out. That's an enjoyable thing. Thank you, dear listener, for coming along with our drama, our ups and downs, and our awesome trip into Bavaria and Germany.
Yay. Thanks, everyone. Bye.